Hello and welcome, my name is Excalibur and this is Delver. Delver is essentially a retro, old school, 8-bit styled dungeon crawling roguelike in which your entire aim is to go into dungeons, get loot, kill monsters and try not to die in the process. Now, I played the game in early access before it was upgraded to the fully released version 1.0, which this is. So I'm kind of curious to see if the game has changed fundamentally in any particular way, though I doubt it. It seemed to be in a fairly solid state when I last played it. Possibly a little bit rough around the edges, and some of the early enemies seemed rather weak or easy to defeat. So I'll be interested to see if that's changed in any particular way. In the version that I played, this area was not a thing. It appears it's just a new intro or starting area of some sort. Last time I played, you just spawned right next to a campsite and went into the dungeon from there. Oh, spider straight away. That's dead. Did 2 damage on that. Hits quite a lot of damage for just a basic spider. Now in this game there are often secrets and hidden bits, just almost in plain sight but not quite. Often just hidden behind like a bush or a wall texture which might be slightly different to the others and that type of thing, so it's always worth keeping your eyes open and seeing if you can spot anything interesting. They also have a tendency to hide items and weapons just behind other objects. Usable waterfalls? No. Often the oldest trick in the book is hiding a secret passage behind a waterfall, as I'm sure you've seen in other games and also films and other such media. Seems like a fairly linear path so far though, which being gathered down here. Oops, slow. Quickly dispatched. Let's see. So each time you hit a certain amount of experience points, you get the chance to level up, and much like other games, except more streamlined, you get the choice between different statistics depending on what it essentially rolls for you each time. So this time I've got a choice between speed, attack and defense. Other times I might have magic or mana, one or the other, and I think health and other such can be separate choosable upgrades. So from these three we have, let's see, speed increases movement speed specifically. Attack increases attack power with melee and ranged weapons. And defense, reduced amounts of damage taken when hit. I'll start with defense because it seems like 2 damage from a spider is quite high. There's some armor for us to equip to also help with that issue. And a buckler or basic shield. And these things normally contain creatures or potentially just items, depending on what's what. Or nothing, that's always a thing. You may have noticed the very briefly present modifier to my speed where, whoops, it said slow and I was literally reduced in movement speed for the time being. Things like that happen quite often where, for example, if you hit something and it explodes, you can go up in flames and remain on fire until the effect wears off, or you can guess other such effects from poison and things like that. As you can tell, the graphics are fairly basic in this game, very retro, very 8-bit, or more comparably I suppose very Minecraftian, since that's a thing these days. They're very basic, but they do the job and they have their own unique charm to them. Traps will be a factor in the dungeon going forth, and being aware of their existences is very useful. These pots often contain random items, normally collectibles, sometimes nothing as usual. See, so we've got bread, we've got a nice one, and we have a worn missile one. Missile one tends to be quite rapid fire, like a pistol or machine gun as equivalent. But once its charges run out, it is basically done, so you might as well throw it away or try and find some way of recharging it. You often come across doors like this which are stuck, and the answer is to just literally destroy them with whatever weapon you choose. And here we have the magic wand in use. As you can see, it's quite effective. 10 charges used and 2 enemies dead. Not too sure what these pots are. Oh, they are explosive. Okay, that's handy to know. That's interesting. Normally you have some way of getting past obstacles. If I missed an area, or let's see, no, it doesn't seem to. Let's double check back over this way, make sure I haven't missed a side passage or some such. Okay, so far from that. Dropping down there is almost definitely instant death. So let's see, yeah, it seems to be, no, that's just a crack in a wall. Yeah, it seems I'm actually intentionally meant to go through the lava. It's kind of strange. Try and do this quickly. As you can see, we've got a burning debuff, which means I will take burning damage till I fall in this water. The game has little interactions like that where one thing can affect another, and so trying to figure out the interactions can help. I just ate the bread which I had on my quick slot bar there, and I've got to restore health over time ticking away, which should remove all the damage dealt by the burning and more. Not a spider. As you can see, spiders also interact with traps much like yourself, as do all the other monsters in the game. There's a strange explosion of sound behind me. This seems rather suspicious. Oh well. This Yithidian orb is essentially what you need to exit a dungeon and then escape. So, wait. But there does not seem to be a way out of here. Okay. See. So, I believe I'm intentionally being set up to die here because there's no way I'm going to survive this. Death was not the end, it was the beginning. Or a beginning. And here we are in a somewhat ethereal plane, outside the bounds of time and space, and I assume this is our soul. And here we have the start of the game proper from what I've already seen before. Cannot travel any further in this direction, however this way will take you to the campsite. There we go. Campsite houses a few vaguely interesting characters who can help you or interact with you in some way. For the most part, at least. There's a dog here, pet, and he lifts his head up, cute. The bard has nothing to say. Shop. Hello traveller, I didn't see you arrive. This place has always been a beacon for those properly attuned, do you feel it too? For the more magically inclined, such as myself, this is a great place to enchant scrolls and artifacts. I have some scrolls prepared that I could part with for the right price. Otherwise, please let me return to my meditations. And as you can see, he sells a variety of rather expensive scrolls. Scroll of Discern Reality, I'm not sure what that does. Enchant Armor, I assume is a temporary boost to AC or armor class, which is essentially damage reduction stats. Scroll of Greater Health, which is obviously a large heal. Scroll of Identify, which will tell you basically any secret stats or hidden figures on items that are above standard quality, i.e. greens, purples, etc. If you know that type of thing from World of Warcraft or the like, you'll understand the system quite quickly. Scroll of Greater Health again. Interesting to see a repeated one. It seems the scrolls are probably randomly generated, so I'm assuming that's why I had two of the same. Scroll of Flame. The game is quite notorious for not really explaining or telling you anything about the items you pick up or collect or how they work or interact. As you can see, one of the items I've started with is a dark potion, and its effects are ... Fantastic. Scroll of Flame does what it says on the can, I assume, so point and it will no doubt give a fireball effect. However, fireball effects in this game in particular are often explosive and very deadly. We have leather armor, basic on our body. We have free armor class, which is basically free damage reduction, just think of it that way if you're not familiar with the AC system. And worn leather pants, which have 0 AC, so they do nothing. Might as well be wearing nothing on our legs. Talk. What do we have here? Another treasure hunter? You won't listen to me, they never do. But the best thing for you is to leave. Not many who go in ever leave that place, even less with their wits. You're right, I'm going to go in anyway. Shop. Hey adventurer, are you planning on going into those ruins? It's dangerous. If I were you, I'd want to be stocked up on supplies before going into that place. Thankfully, your pal Joff here sells everything you could possibly need. How very kind of you. Let's see. Hunter's Bow 90. Hunter's bows are normally quite good, they're fairly strong and they shoot very far. Arrows. It might actually be worth buying a few arrows, as you're not guaranteed to receive any if you do find a bow within the dungeon. Protected Gilded Hammer of Burning. That sounds rather freaking powerful, and at that price I would assume it's going to do a fair amount of damage per swing. Amulet of Greater Health. Normally that will give you, I'm going to assume, about 6 extra health from wearing it. That's a permanent effect until obviously you remove the amulet, at which point you will lose the bonus health. Worn Missile Wand, same as one we've seen but in action earlier. Strange Elixir, who knows. Taking my own advice, let's see, so 8 arrows, 5 gold, yeah, it seems like a good deal. And they're permanently gone from his current inventory, which will no doubt be updated when we next arrive. Just smash open these boxes and see if there's anything interesting. Oh, get Excellent Buckler. That's a rare find. 4 armor class, speed -1. So we swing slightly slower, or we move slightly slower, sorry. But we gain 4 armor class. Now here in the attributes screen, we have our various statistics and details laid out for us. Our attack power is based on our weapon, which is an iron dagger, 2 to 3 damage. So every swing we will do 2 to 3 damage per swing. Total amount of damage done for melee and ranged weapons, 2 to 3. Armor class, total amount of defense, reduces amount of damage taken when hit. Our current stat is 7. So if a hit would do, say, 10, then I assume we'll take 3. However, I haven't actually checked that out to clarify the exact benefits of AC in this game. Health increases maximum health points. Magic adds additional charges to magic wands. Interestingly, rather than giving you, say, more mana, whenever you pick up a wand, you'll find it has, say, 21 or 22 users instead of 20 whenever you increase your magic. Speed increases movement speed. What does says on the count? Attack increases attack power with melee and ranged weapons. Does not increase magic damage in any way, shape or form. Defense reduces amount of damage taken when hit. This works in balance with armor class, so higher defense means even without armor you will take less damage. However, armor class then acts as kind of a mild multiplier, I assume. Agility increases attack speed and movement speed while charging an attack. Very specific usage there. So if I can basically help you run around a bit faster when you've got an attack charged. For example, if I hold down left mouse button, you see I raise up my weapon and I move noticeably slower. Whereas that's normal movement speed. Oh, random bomb falling out of that bush. So if I hold this, I instantly drop down to a very slow speed. This can be problematic when you need to use charged attacks but you're being attacked by multiple melee ranged enemies at the same time. So agility can pay its way in gold very quickly. Level increases maximum health points, increases attack power, and gives a chance to increase stats. So, as usual, level ups always help. XP, progress to next player level. Assume this is going to be per enemy killed, so I kill 8 enemies, I gain a level up, and the number will increase incrementally, should I say, each time I level up. Gold can be spent at vendors for items and upgrades, persists between deaths. So if I die in the game, I maintain whatever gold I had in the previous life. However, I'll lose all items and objects in my possession at that time, as well as XP and levels gained. Right, so let's see what this says. Journal page. The others went inside against my arguments to proceed more cautiously. I fear for the worst. The only thing to do now is to wait for their return. No word yet from the rest, but I've been trying to Let's try that again. No word yet from the rest, but I've been trying to continue my studies in their absence. So far nothing seems fixed here. No observations have remained stable. So you'll find the odd journal note and diary page and that type of thing as you travel around. They basically fill in like little bits of backstory or often interesting things about some of the campsite characters, and you have to try and figure out who they might be referring to or talking about in their details. So here we have notes on battle, which basically explains how combat works. So it says about focused attacks, basically charge up with the attack button and then hit for more damage. Make sure you check what you've got before you go into battle. Put items on your quick bar up here so you can use them with 1 to 5. Always have an exit and know where you are. Keep a map to avoid getting lost. You have a default map and you can check that at any time, which is just the M button, and it brings up a map of where you've travelled around so far. However, anywhere you haven't been is part of the fog of war essentially. When you enter into a dungeon, it only shows the current floor if I'm not mistaken. So you can't easily check where you have or haven't been on other floors, but you can always know where you are on that floor. It's worth breaking all these bushes, or well, say breaking, cutting down I suppose, all these bushes. Oh, arrow bomb, very interesting. Basically throw that and it will blast out like a nail bomb but with arrows. The inscription is too worn to make out. Who was this? Probably us in a previous lifetime. As this is another game with the whole cycle of life and death just being a constant, where you're expected to die and expected to try again. It's right where they said it was. These look like old Mage Empire ruins. Seems likely from what's left anyway. Rumour says that in their constant striving for more power they made their own undoing here. I say, more for us. N. No idea who N is. Oh, finally a waterfall payoff. Interesting. Bunch of bones. Let's see if there's anything in this barrel. Don't think so. Get discarded note. This place is perfect, even more artifacts than I hoped. Getting access to them is going to be difficult though. Maybe we can let these dumb adventurers go collect them for us, and scoop them up off their valiant corpses. So I'm curious as to who may have written this. Random stack of books dumped in here. I think I'll throw all my notes away in here, as I can't see myself needing to refer to any of them at any point. And out we go. Any hidden walls? Nope. Often you'll find there are secret walls which you literally just have to walk up to and use to activate. So with that in mind, we'll head into the next area, and then to the dungeon proper. See you in the next episode. My name is Excalibur, and this has been Delver.